Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful framework that helps turn big ambitions into real, tangible achievements. It's called OKRs, and it's all about shifting teams from just being busy to creating some truly massive wins.
So here's our roadmap. We're going to start with a problem that I bet sounds pretty familiar to a lot of you. Then we'll introduce OKRs as the solution. From there, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of how to write and use them the right way, and just as important, we'll cover a critical warning about when not to use them before we wrap it all up.
All right, let's kick things off with a fundamental question, one that every leader, every team member, really should be asking. Are we all actually rowing in the same direction?
I mean, think about it for a second. Everyone on your team is hustling, right? They're working hard, they're completing tasks, they're shipping features, but is all of that frantic activity actually moving the needle on what matters most to the company? Way too often, there's this huge gap between the day-to-day grind and the high-level strategy. And honestly, that just leads to a ton of wasted time, energy, and money.
Well, this exact problem, this disconnect, is what the OKR framework was basically invented to solve. It is all about bringing in some much-needed focus and clarity to an organization. And you know, John Doerr, the guy who famously brought this system to Google, he just nails it with this quote. OKRs are a way to make sure everyone, from the CEO all the way down, is laser-focused on the exact same important issues. It's a system for strategic alignment, pure and simple.
So what in the world does OKR even stand for? Simple, objectives and key results. At its heart, it's just a collaborative way for teams to set these really clear, ambitious goals and then measure their progress with concrete, undeniable outcomes.
Let's break this down, because the two parts are super distinct. The objective, that's the what. It's your big, inspirational goal. Think of it as the destination you're pointing to on the map. But the key results, that's the how. They are the specific, measurable signposts that tell you if you're actually getting there. They're the exact GPS coordinates that prove you've arrived. Okay, this next part is maybe the most important piece of the puzzle, actually writing good OKRs. Because it all comes down to making this mental shift from just tracking activity to focusing on real, measurable impact. First up, a great objective. You'll notice there are no numbers here. It's gotta be qualitative. It needs to be clear, easy to remember, and honestly, it should get people a little excited. Something like achieve a dominant position in the market is awesome. It sets a clear direction and inspires action without getting stuck in the weeds of metrics. At least, not yet. Now, the key results, this is where the numbers come to play. And the number one rule here is that they have to measure outcomes, not just outputs or activities. Launching a new feature, that's an activity, but increasing user engagement by 15% because of that feature, now that's an outcome. That's what we're talking about. Every KR needs a target number, and it has to be gradable, so you can tell if you're 30, 50, or 90% of the way there. And you can really see this difference in action right here. Look at the weak outcome focus side. Improve customer satisfaction. Okay, how? It's so vague, but the strong outcome focus version? Increase Net Promoter Score from 35 to 60. Boom! Crystal clear. You know exactly what success looks like. Same thing with onboard new customers versus the much stronger acquire 15% new customers. One is just a task, the other is a meaningful business result.
So, when you get this right, something really cool starts to happen. OKRs create this powerful chain of alignment that flows through the entire organization.
You can think about it at three different altitudes, really. You've got the high-level company strategy at the top, then using them to guide major projects, and all the way down to driving improvements within a single team. So, at the very top, at level 1, you've got a big strategic OKR like this. The objective is bold, right? It's aspirational. And the key results, they're the concrete, measurable goals that tell everyone what dominant position actually means for the business. Okay, now let's see how that cascades down. At level 2, a project team can create its own OKR that plugs directly into that bigger company strategy. So in this case, making delivery notifications better, well, that helps improve repeat business, which in turn helps the company achieve that dominant market position we were just talking about. See how it all connects? And you can even use this for purely internal goals. Let's say a dev team wants to improve time to market. Instead of that just being a vague wish, they can define it with super clear key results, like doubling their release schedule. It takes a fuzzy idea and makes it a real, measurable plan. Okay, now hold on. Before you get all excited and start writing OKRs for everything under the sun, we need to talk about a really, really critical warning. There's a time and a place for this tool. And it is not everywhere.
And here it is, plain and simple. OKRs are absolutely the wrong tool for your short-term, week-to-week team planning.
You see, in a lot of agile setups, teams work in these short cycles called a planning interval, or PI. Just think of it like a sprint, usually a few weeks long, where the team commits to getting a specific chunk of work done.
And this is exactly why OKRs just don't fit into that short time box. OKRs are strategic. They define the long-term why, where you want to be in a few months or even a year. But those tactical PI goals, they define the immediate what, the stuff you can actually ship in a couple of weeks. You know, your key results are often what we call lagging indicators. You're not going to see your net promoter score jump in a 2-week sprint, and trying to force that is just going to lead to frustration and totally miss the point of both systems. Okay, so let's pull all of this together. When you use them in the right way, for the right things, OKRs are an incredible way to make sure you're measuring what truly matters.
I mean, the benefits are huge. You get that top-to-bottom alignment we talked about, you get transparency, everybody knows the score, you get focus, which forces that crucial conversation shift from what did you do to what impact did you have, and all of that, it drives engagement and performance because people are connected to a mission they can actually see and measure.
So I'll leave you with this one question to mull over for your own team or your whole organization. Take a really honest look at your goals. Are they just a glorified to-do list that measures activity, or are they actually measuring what truly matters?